Yo, it's Glendon Cameron again with the second episode of the American Hustler podcast. In this episode, we explore a very critical question. What is a hustler? What is the hustler mindset? And better yet, can you learn to be one? I'm going to give you my definition of what a hustler is. A person that sees opportunity and acts upon it. That's it. I know you were expecting, my name's Lenny and I got plenty. The guy from Good Times holding open his coat and he was on the street corner with watches and fake gold jewelry. Essentially, hustling is recognizing that you can exploit a situation for personal gain. We live in a culture where people frown upon that. I'll give you an example. When you go to a garage sale and someone has something on their table for sale, and it has, say, a price tag of $5, $10 on it, right? But you know that that item is extremely valuable and could be worth 10 grand. There are two types of people that would see it and have two different responses. The first person, the namby-pamby do-gooder, would be like, excuse me, buddy, do you know that pocket watch there you have for $5, that's really worth 10 grand. You should put it somewhere else and make more money. And then there's me. You want $10 for that? Psh! That $10 bill would come out of my hand so fast it would be fire on it. There would be some people that would say, I took advantage of the garage seller who put that watch on the table, and I didn't get 10 grand, I got 8, and sold it. There are some people that have a fundamental problem with that because the seller who did not do their due diligence put an extremely valuable item out for sale, and he put a price on it. And I will tell you this to this day, if he had put $100 on it, the $100 bill would have flew out of my hand with fire on it. This is one of the things that I should teach you. When you see something valuable and you do what I call the breakdown or the bargain basement, like, hey, buddy, I know you got $10 on there. Could you do it for $5? Frequently, you alert the person to the true value of the item based on your body language and really depending on where they are in their walk on communication, because communication, 75% of communication is nonverbal. They may intrinsically pick up on that you're trying to get over, because the thing is, you are. When I made that transaction, I wasn't trying to get over. I knew what it was worth. He was asking $10. If he asked $100, I would have gave it to him. If he had asked $500, I would have gave it to him. If he had put $1,000 on it, I would have given it to him. I gave him his price, and he said, "Thank you, buddy. You want here's some other stuff, because everyone down here," and these are his words, not mine, "everyone down here is trying to Jew me down." He was happy with his $10. But there are some of you out there who couldn't sleep at night. And you want to know why? And it's not because you took advantage of a person who gave you their price and you paid that price. It's because you are uncomfortable with success. Because success brings on new responsibility. And if you're not used to being accountable for success, you run from it and you would fuck it up because you are uncomfortable with success. You would do dumb shit like that and think because you did not pay the person the price that they were asking and you decided to inform them that they had more money on the table, that you're somehow this good person. You are a spineless, gutless coward. because you don't want to step your game up because life would put more responsibility on your sorry, slack-jawed ass. That's why people turn in money. Because if you find $150,000, $200,000, $300,000, it will change your life. And there's a scientific study, I don't have it close at hand, but I read it years ago, that the average human being, that includes you, is not really comfortable with more than 10 to 15% change at any given time. 25% can make you nervous. 50% can make you commit suicide. 30 to 40% can make you start drinking too much or doing drugs because it's change and you're not used to it because you don't embrace change. There was a person that bought a house. And if you've ever bought a house, you know it's a legal transaction. You go through a lot of stuff. You have to get the mortgage. You have to give up your firstborn. You have to sign the contract in blood. They bought this house, paid what the people were asking for this house. As they're fixing up their house, they come across some money in the attic. $45,000 to $50,000, I believe, in cash. What do they do with this money that they found in their house that they paid the price on, that they bought honestly with no guile, no compulsion? They found the original owner and gave them the money. Let me hit rewind. They got a mortgage, bought this house, paid the price, but due to a namby-pamby good do-gooder ethic in this world that people like, well, yeah, you know, they did the right thing. That makes me feel good about humanity. Did anyone ever think that well, actually, I messed that up. They bought a house from an elderly gentleman. They found his living heirs and gave him the money. And the guy said, well, you know, if it was me, I would want my son to have money. No one ever thought maybe dad didn't want them to have the fucking money. People with money are notorious for that. It's like, yeah, you're in the will, your ass is out the will. You're in the will, your ass is out the will. My thoughts were, he didn't do a will. That money was for him, and he wasn't planning on giving it to him. But these people who bought the house, paid the price for the house, gave the money up. That money would have changed their lives. And this wasn't a single man. This was a man with a wife and kids. And it was like, that's a good lesson. That's foolish. Foolish with a capital FOOLISH, all in capitals. Foolish. If he had taken that money and split it down the middle, $20,000 apiece, and put that money in a Roth IRA, because I believe both of his kids were under 10. By the time they got to college, he would have had half their tuition or more for each. But no, this isn't the money. It's not our money. It's in our house that we're paying this big-ass mortgage on, but it's not our money. Fear. Fear. A true hustler would have been, thank you, kiss the money, held some up to the sun and said, thank you, universe, for blessing me, because I bought this house, because I did many things in my previous months and years that put me in a position to buy this house, and this is an additional bonus. But people who are afraid of success, oh, no, they're gonna fuck it up. It's like that chick that you're dating, and she knows you're a good dude, and she'll even say some silly shit like this. You know, guys who are foolish, you know, I'm all on that, but someone, dude, that shit scares me, and I just push them away. Because they are afraid of being accountable and responsibility. Hustling doesn't just extend to transactions of goods and services. Hustling extends on the emotional level, the way that you deal with your friends, your family, your loved ones. This is how I became a hustler. I've always considered myself a hard worker, would get out there and do what I needed to do to make a little extra change. Worked hard, cut grass in the Alabama sun for years. I would get a tan, and you know, I'm pretty dark already. I would become what I used to call bohemian chocolate. And I love that look. I was so dark. I mean, I would look in the mirror, you could see the collar around where my shirt and neckline met. And I was just like this rich chocolate. I love that shit. That's what's just working, right? Well, many, many years ago, after I really embraced the hustler mindset, I came across an opportunity. And for many of you, this would be an ethical dilemma. I worked for a company, a contract office furniture company. On the American Hustler podcast, we don't name names because it's the thing to do. Unless you're a complete and utter dumbass, then you will get named. But things in the past, things I've done, it's just best to leave them where they are in the past. I worked for a guy, a smart guy, and we had a certain targeted customer. And I was getting some, but I calculated and I went to him and I said, look, if we deal with these customers, we can make more money because, and he sat me down and he said, oh, we looked at that before and, we just didn't really see it being worth our while and just stick to the targets. And I was summarily dismissed from his office. And really, in translation, that deal's not big enough for me and you because the way the commission structure was, we got 50% of the net, which is really great if you can get the deal. It's awesome. You do a $300,000 deal and say the net's about 120, you get 60 G's. They did that. I got checks. They was honest about it. But those deals were getting harder and harder to source. So I meet this client, and they were already on the list before I had this conversation with the owner of the company because they were clearly not a target, but I was going to try to sell because it was right there on the borderline. I was like, I'm going to squeak this one in because I need some money. So I meet with the office manager, and we start talking. And then she tells me she has a new directive. And I was like, what's your new directive? She's like, well, before we buy any new office furniture, we must look at what we have and see if we can repurpose it. And do you know anyone that refinishes furniture? So at this point, my heart sinks because I'm like, oh shit, even this isn't working right. And I was like, you know what? Push. Just keep pushing. You hear, what's the harm in going? You never know what's going to develop. So I said, sure. And her name was Nancy. That was her first name. I doubt you can find her from that. And Nancy and I go to the old location, and she opens it up, and it's one level, and there's just oodles and tons of furniture. There's all kinds of stuff. There was even a generator because they had servers, and they always had to have 100% uptime. So they had this big industrial generator outside for the facility. And I said, Nancy, what if I sold this for you at a 50% commission? And Nancy, who was a little stoic and a little standoffish, became alive. She put her hand on my bicep and said, ooh, that's firm. And then me being the flirty guy that I am, I was like, well, if you keep pressing on this, something else is going to be firm. Ha, ha, ha. She laughed. She winked. I laughed. And she said, well, let me talk to my boss. I said, okay. And she said, no, hold on. I'll call him right now. And I got to talk to her boss, and he's like, I like the ideal, Nancy. Okay. And just for my safety, I had them draw up a very simple agreement to what we were doing. And, 2 days later, he sent me something. I signed it. He signed it, sent it back, and we're on. Now, I was totally 100% wrong, because if I had what I call poor man's integrity, that I would have lived and died by doing the things that the owner wanted, and I would have been broke as shit. It was an opportunity. I was commissioned salesman. I didn't have to go to the office, so I sit up there and I start selling that stuff. I was selling something every 2 or 3 days. It was to the point, and the deal was that I received a check from the company, or if the people paid in cash, Nancy would break me my commission off right there. But all funds would go straight to the company, or if someone paid with a check, that the check would be made in the company's name. I was cool with that because, we were partners. That whole move changed my life because it gave me some serious capital to do more things. And I moved on and started my own company from that because it was an opportunity. And many people would have walked away from it and just, nah, it's a little messy. Nah. I had to really worship at the church of me because I had like a really good year before, but it was sucking wind. And it's like, I got to do something. And it was a starting point for me getting in the resale business, because that's how I got into the resale business, because I was selling that stuff to customers that I had met who couldn't afford our stuff, and I had a book of business. So like I said, I was selling stuff. Now understand, to give you the perspective of the scope here, we're talking about 30,000 square feet of office furniture. It was a big facility. And like I said, it was just when I went from ashy to classy very quickly. But many people would have passed that up. But that's how my true hustler mindset was activated. And you got to really think about it, because technically I got a 1099 from that company that I was employed by, because I was a 100% commission salesman. So essentially I started my own business and moved forward and have not looked back since. This is a pivotal question, and I receive it all the time. Can you learn the hustle? Go back to the story I just told you. Yes, you can. The real question is it important to you? Another question is, what type of social engineering garbage that you must regurgitate to let your inner hustler free? I'll give you another deal with hustling that we live in a society. There's this big thing that's going on because of the the obliteration of gender roles. Everyone's the same. I will say this, and it's going to be very controversial. Men and women are not equal. I'm going to say it one more time. Men and women are not equal. Down to the hormonal levels and the size of the brain. I inserted that pause to let you fill in the space, because I said men and women are not equal. I didn't really say anything about one being better than the other, because really the way things work, they really complement each other quite well. But due to this equality notion, you've got a lot of crazy stuff that's going on. And where I'm going with this is, if a woman is dressed to kill, got her, I'm going to do it, Dave Chappelle, got titties all up to her, popping out a turtleneck, and you look, somehow you're wrong. This woman who spent 2 to 3 hours to get ready for people to look at her, then you look at it and then she's looking down her nose because you were giving her the attention that she expected to get, but because of these weird social, crazy, I don't give a fuck rules, because if you look like that, I will look at you and I even say something, damn, you look awesome today. That dress is wearing you, baby. And you know what? When I do that in public and tell women stuff like that, the outcome is usually really good. I'm like, whoa, you're awesome. You look, damn, you're beautiful. I did that to a chick in the grocery store. The words just hopped out my mouth. I had a new friend for about 5 minutes. We're walking. I don't know where her car was, but she's like walking through and just, because I don't give a fuck. You have to decide what is your code of ethics. And mine include, I don't kill people. I don't lie to people to get their money. I don't trick people. I don't manipulate people. But it's just there's certain things I don't deal with, because I'm a caveman. But more importantly, you have to regurgitate some of this stuff to let your true hustler out. With hustling, there's a price. There's an opportunity cost to everything that we do. Many people don't want to pay that price. They kind of want to cheat, or they want a discount code, or they want maybe to win the lottery or get a freebie or some bullshit like that. You're wasting your time. It's a true opportunity cost, and I can tell you from experience, it's worth the money, the emotion, the resources, the time. Because when you become a truly actuated hustler, if you go back to my video in the Hustler Mindset playlist on YouTube, money's everywhere. you start to see opportunities that have been in front of your face for years when you activate your hustler mindset. There's so many ways to make money in today's world. The opportunities are, I can't count that high. I cannot fully implement all the ideals I have in my head because I know how to run a business, and I know being scattered and doing this, then doing that, then doing this, you are diffused and your power is not as effective as it could be if you're focused and on purpose and have intent. But there is a price to hustling. Some of the prices are your friends may think you're nuts. Parents may say stuff like, so when are you going to get a real job? So what if you're driving a BMW and you have a great house, but you don't have a real job? And good people have real jobs. Some of you've heard bullshit like that you're living a life, you're taking care of yourself, you're not a burden on society, but because you don't follow the narrative that was given to you since you were a child, somehow you're wrong. My mother love her to death. I told my mom, I said, hey, Mom, I got my own business, I'm an entrepreneur. This is what this lovely woman said to me on the phone. So what you're telling me is you still don't have a job. It took her years to wrap her head around that. Years. I was just like, and this is what I did. I compartmentalized my relationship with my mother. I learned to not tell her stuff because she's my mother and she can put in that one negative comment and fuck up my week. So I didn't tell her stuff. Parents, if your children have dreams and you piss on them and tell them that it's love, but they go, that's piss, they're going to stop talking to you about certain things and you're going to miss out. Just letting you know. Now, I can tell my mother anything now and she gets it, but it took some years. Those narratives in society will fuck up your success because you're operating on some false beliefs that if you do the right thing, good things are going to happen to you. If you go back to that movie, and I love this movie, The Confession with Ben Kingsley, the right thing is easy to do when you know what the right thing is. The hard part is, what is the right thing? And as long as you're floating in the wind on what is the right thing, you don't do shit, which exacerbates the problem. So doing the right thing, being a good person, all that stuff, it can get you massacred because you must go back to purpose and intent. If you're truly a nice person, you're nice to everyone. You're just not nice. You're not nice in certain situations. You're perpetually nice. And I know people like that, and they have a good life because they have a good heart. But there's some people who are what I call situationally nice, like nice guys. I'm an asshole. I'll say it. I will tell a chick, I want to fuck you. First date. I've done it many times. And you know what? There's some that's like, Glendon, it's a no. Okay. And most of them may not happen that night, but sooner or later it does because they know my intent. I'm not trying to be your fucking buddy. I'm not trying to be your girlfriend with a dick. I'm trying to fuck you because I think you're hot. And when I developed the courage to have that kind of emotional honesty with women, I stopped having a lot of problems with women. It's like I can sit back and watch other guys operate and laugh my ass off because I can see the flames in their ass just before their descent back to earth with their feelings hurt. It's a cost. It took me a while to learn how to be that honest because, the first time I did it, it came out wrong. The second time, it was still wrong. But I kept at it because it worked for me. But when you put on the facade that you're nice and really you just want some pussy, you're going to be one frustrated dude because you're lying to yourself. And women are more intuitive. They may not know exactly what you're lying about, but they know you're lying. And on that point, if you develop yourself as a man, you'll be just as intuitive as women or even more, because it's not a gender neutral talent. It's an emotional aperture that once you open it, you can feel what people are thinking. You can read people like you're reading a book in large print. And it fucks people up because they're like, how the hell did you know that? Why the fuck are you reading? You're making me feel weird because you're telling me shit about myself I've never told anyone before. And I'm scared, but I'm really intrigued and my bra's about to come off. It's a journey. If you work on the problems on the inside first, a lot of your external problems will dissipate. But most people do the converse. They work on the outside problem and ignore the inside problem and wonder why shit never changes. All of your problems, all of your angst, everything is on the inside. Work from the inside out, not the outside in. And that's also how you set a table for you uncouth motherfuckers. Can you build a business on hustle? I did. One of the things about hustle in the word, it has a negative connotation. And I almost waffled on not naming this podcast The American Hustler. I was going to come up with something more germane, something a little... And I said, fuck it. You're an American hustler. That's what you've done. Own that shit. Be that person. Put it out there. And if they don't like it, pull out your dick and piss in their face. Skeet, skeet. I'm the motherfucking American hustler and you have piss on your nose. But yeah, I got to go because you look mad. I told you this podcast is going to be wild. This is not going to be, it's going to be very different from a lot of things that I've done before. So you will hear some shit that you've never heard me say before. But that's how I feel. And one of the things about having your own economy, that's another video in that playlist, you get to be yourself. I like the word fuck. Fuck is a good friend of mine. The F and fuck is for friend for me. I like it. You know, and I said like, fuck. Oh, fuck. No, the fuck you didn't. Oh, fuck you. I like that. And I get to do it because this is my podcast. I have my own business. And I don't have to worry about going to work on Monday morning and someone's, well, hey, Glendon, you know, I heard you were doing your podcast and you said fuck. And we don't really like that type of language around here. So I'm going to write you up. And if you do it again on your podcast in your own personal time, we will have to address that with some type of punitive action because here at, we don't go for that blankety blank. See, I didn't even say it because that's the kind of Christian organization we are. You really need to get a handle on yourself. Now, bring yourself into my office so I can write you up. There are people who can't be themselves because they work for a Calvinistic organization that has extended its influence into their personal lives. To me, that is fucked up, and I'm not going for it. I never went for it, and that's one of the reasons I got out of the military. I didn't have the personality to do 20 years. I may have ended up in Leavenworth or something. And it wasn't like I was walking around doing crazy stuff, but it was just not for me. So today, if you want to be a hustler, you have to be honest with yourself and also learn to love yourself. I am a staunch opportunist. You call some people that. You call me a staunch opportunist. Why are you trying to hurt my feelings? I'm just a person. I'm a person. What? It's the reality. I'm a staunch opportunist. If I see opportunity, I'm on it. I'm not going to lie to you for it. I'm not going to trick you. I'm not going to deceive you. But like that watch deal, I'm all over it. Like a dog on the bone. Urgh. You must claim your inner staunch opportunist. It's in there. It may come out in relationships. It may come out at church. But it's in there because I've seen this operate on so many different levels. Now, the deal is with being a hustler, can you stand the pain? Because the thing is, I went through a 3-year rocky-ass transformation on the hustler mindset. I had to regurgitate a lot of those good conservative Alabama values. I'm going to tell you how fucked up I was. And Miss Bain, I know she's in heaven. Miss Bain is in heaven. Bless you. She had me so instilled that the first time I looked at a chick and got a woody, I felt sinful. I felt unclean. And it's just a natural ass response. I had some issues with that. And I was just like, and this chick that it happened with, she was so sweet. She says, okay, that's what's supposed to happen. Let me take care of that for you. I was in the military at the time. And I do believe as you walk in life and you're honest about yourself, you'll meet people who will help you with your journey. Because she was really instrumental in helping me deal with all of that repression. I said, conservative Alabama values. You can insert repression also in there. And, we used to talk about it, and she'd come by my room, and she'd sit up, she recommended books. She was an angel that was inserted in my life because I had the honesty to tell her how I was feeling. Because it wasn't like, this is what grew up. And she said, oh, no. She was not judgmental. And that's one of the things I really like California girls, because she was from Cali. She was laid back. She was cool as shit. And she helped me transition from that repression to openness. And I'll never forget her. So you got to understand, you have to be honest with yourself. You can tell me anything. You can tell your girlfriend anything. You can tell your husband, your wife. But you know you. And the minute that you are honest with yourself and you can love yourself, flaws and all, then you can improve. Because as long as there's no problem and then you feel entitled and it's everyone's problem, shit will never change. Now, this is another thing about hustling. Anything that happens in the world is a plan on someone's part other than catastrophe, random car wreck. But situational transactions, and women are really good at this. This is how stupid dudes are. You think that chick that you ran into and you saw on aisle 4 and you saw her in aisle 5 and you saw her in aisle 6 and you saw her in aisle 7, you think that was random? She was hoping you would say something, dumbass. It didn't just happen. You got to pick up on that shit, because I look at selling products and dating is the same thing, because essentially I am presenting myself and selling stuff. And a lot of the dynamics work. Like if you are a dude and you're good with women, or you're another dude and you're good with other dudes, you'll be good as a salesperson because you have the fundamental understanding of people and relationships. Because all sales are emotional. On some level, they're moving towards something with that sale. They're moving from something. There's an emotional component to that sale. And if you don't understand that, you're going to miss out. But shit just doesn't happen in a vacuum. It doesn't happen. It's a plan on someone's part. And as a hustler, it can be a plan on your part. By having goals, and this thing, going back to relationships, you go to college, you have a curriculum, you have certain, there are steps of graduation. You matriculate through college, you get a job, and you're in level 1, and there's a defined path for you to get to 2 to 3 to 4. But for some reason, people think relationships are just supposed to happen. Like a rabbit's supposed to come in and it's like, bam, you have a great relationship. Great relationships take work, time, and effort. And that's something people are running from. Kind of like running from success, running from responsibility. I said it before in a video, and success is a jealous bitch. Success doesn't want shacking up or, booty call. No, success wants the real deal. So just remember that when you're contemplating being a hustler, just remember that. There's a cost, but it's worth it. It is totally, totally worth it. So I'm going to do this. I want to leave you with this. Take a sheet of paper and write down, am I a hustler? Can I become a hustler? And start asking yourself some questions. Is it worth it to you? Because by learning how to be a hustler, and what's that definition? A person that spots opportunity and exploits it for personal gain. New opportunities will start popping up all over your life in ways that you can't imagine, because you took the simple time and effort to go inside and figure out what the fuck's going on. Because once you get the inside going, do that. Once you get that inside thing straight, the world will start to bend to your needs, wishes, and desires. I live that shit. The way that I'm living right now it was a goal. People don't understand. It's like, well, Glendon was in the storage auction business and he was making all that money. If it was me, I inserted that pause. If it was me. That is one of the most arrogant, egotistical statements in the English language. If it was me. You're completely and utterly disregarding that person's intent, desires, and wishes and superimposing your shit on them to make it easier for your dumb ass to understand it. Many people don't understand me. Many people can't get it. And I will put it to you like this. When you've had a lot of pussy, it's really easy to turn down pussy. Because you've been there. No, I'm not really connected to her on that level, so I'm not going to do it. Whereas if you are dry dick Danny and the lotion man knows your first name, you can't conceive it. Because you are so itching to get in some pussy that you can't even fathom turning some down because you're not getting any. I'm going to tell you something else. And this is just my opinion, but I think 20% of the cats on the planet are fucking 80% of the women. Based on shit I know and seen and done. That's because of all these false narratives, all this crazy stuff. But it's about perspective, context. I don't say if it were me. I pull that shit out of my vocabulary because it's not me. It's that person. It's their life. Everyone isn't driven and ruled by the same desires. Everyone doesn't have the same master. I know many people who don't give two shits about money. They want freedom. And that's why I do what I do. I have freedom. No, I don't make as much money as I did in the storage auction business yet. Because I'm building the business. It's going to be 4 years old. It's starting to grow up. It's walking. It ain't pooping in the diapers no more. And I'm patient with that because I've gone through the process. And I can tell you this with full authenticity. If you start a business that's in a good field, that has room for growth, and it's competitive, and you have a marketable service, I'm not just going to say start a business, work hard. No, there's other variables that are part of that. But if you start a business that society wants those services or products, and you learn from your mistakes, and you keep hitting it, you ultimately will be successful. I can promise you that. But if you just start some shit, then stop the minute it gets difficult, you're never going to grow. You're just not. It's consistency. It's the most important part of being a hustler. Because with consistency, and you take and build upon those previous experiences, you gain new experiences. Your experience encyclopedia gets large. You can go back and oh yeah, this is going to happen. And oh yes, because I watch a lot of YouTube videos and I see people and I'm like, oh, you're doing this wrong. And I used to be the dude to private message people. Then this is before the first book. And this was before the second book. And I would do this stuff. And people like, well, you're just trying to sell me something. And I'm giving them what I thought was good advice. I didn't ask for anything. But that was their perspective on my help. Do a 180-degree turn. I become successful. A lot of people like my books. Now I don't give out information. I'm an asshole. Tell you a little story. I have a lot of stories. A person that ridiculed my YouTube activity because I was going hard. Because one of the things I've learned is, and you immerse yourself in some stuff, you're going to find out so many things really quick if you just pound it. And it was like, ha, ha, ha. This person stalked me on Facebook. I changed my number, so a lot of people don't have my new number. And finally got me. It's like, I've been trying to get with you and this and that, leaving messages and all this. I hadn't talked to this person in 8 months. And she made me an offer I couldn't refuse. It's like, I'll cook dinner for you. And I'll make dessert if you help me with YouTube. Bet. But my mistress, now that's my baby. My baby, which is my business, said, you can't go. We got something we got to do. So I had to cancel. She was upset. She was miffed. How dare I cancel? Well, I gave her another opportunity. Then she downgraded the offer. Well, let's meet at Starbucks. No, we're not meeting at Starbucks. I accepted one offer. I refused to downgrade the offer. That's called respecting my time. I wasn't going to go to Starbucks. To me, if Starbucks works for you, that's fine. To me, it's one of the most uncomfortable places in the world, and I don't really see how a lot of people get work done there. But that's me. And, she was a little salty about that. And it's just funny how when you are convicted, convinced, and on point with what you believe in, how frequently dissenters, doubters, people that talked about you behind your back, all of a sudden need your help. That is the beauty of being a hustler that is fully accentuated and your hustling aperture is wide open. So, just something for you to chew on. So if you like this podcast, go ahead and subscribe. You can get it here, iTunes, YouTube, and it'll be on the blog. And if you want some more hustler mindset talks, check out my playlist on YouTube, The Hustler Mindset. There's about 40 videos in there now. And there's just different kind of stuff. And I'm telling you from the bottom of my red blood beating little heart that if you devote 6 months to improving yourself through personal development, you can achieve more in a matter of months or a year than you have in the last 10 because you're on point and you have purpose. So remember the exercise, sheet of paper. Am I a hustler? Can I be a hustler? And explore your inner world. All right, this is Glendon. I'm out of here, and I will see you on the good side.